Okay, I just wanted to do an update since there's been a few milestones. I know it's been a while, but honestly, YouTube keeps kicking off its own creators, so I never really know if it's worth doing these, but I'll try to do them a little more often. So, going through the list, and we'll talk about what's new. Starting first is Bitcoin. So, I just started doing this. I really don't know all that much about it. I have someone helping me who's done very well. So I'm just dipping my toes in there. And I'm about broken even at the moment. It went up a lot and then it went back down. So as of right now, I'm just breaking even. 401k is doing pretty well, humming along. It was down most of last year. Now it's up. It's doing pretty well. So Smarty Pig, this is one of the big ones. So I finally hit a goal that I've had for years, and that's $10,000 in cash to be used as mostly income, kind of a emergency income fund. And the reason it says 12,000 is I actually have two goals, which is what they're called in Smarty Pig. One was $2,000, which was just a emergency cash fund, because occasionally you'll run across something that they don't take a credit card. And I think most places like apartments, or if you rent a house, a lot of times deposits, or when you move out, you may have some things that they charge you for. Usually they don't take a credit card. They have to take cash only. So having just a little bit of cash on hand for things where they won't accept any other form of payment is handy. And then the $10,000 is a different pot of money. That's my 6 months of income, if you will. And that's maybe not quite 6 months, but it's really close. I think if I stretch it out, I could live off of $10,000 for 6 months. Just bills. That's not luxuries. It's just bills. So next, we're going to move to M1, which is, again, humming along, doing well. It was down again most of last year. And lately it's been up pretty good. I mean, you can see I'm up 1,700. That includes dividends. So dividends are doing pretty well. I think I just missed $600 last year in 2020. So I'm hoping to make, well, definitely over 600, but hopefully, who knows? I don't know. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll hit $1,000 in dividends this year. I don't really worry too much about the value of the portfolio itself. I know right now it's up 17, but I'm a dividend investor, so I don't really care that much about the ups and downs as long as the dividends keep paying out, which they have. I don't think, I'd have to go back and check them all, but I don't think that any of my individual stocks cut dividends, which is why I have them, because they're all either dividend kings or dividend aristocrats. So they all tend to do pretty well and not cut dividends even in downturns. I have a couple ETFs and funds, REITs, stuff like that. Those those go up and down. That's expected because they're a basket of stocks. So, and they're managed, so people, the managers buy and sell. So that's expected. They're going to go up and down a little bit. But the individual stocks that I have, which is the majority, I don't think any of them have cut. So I consider that a pretty good success, that my income really didn't go down. And then, so we're going to move to Fundrise. Fundrise is doing well. So in 2019, which is when I started, I made about 120. And that was for the last half of the year, because I started investing in Fundrise about the middle of 2019. So in 2020, that went up to 520, which is pretty fantastic, considering it's only been a year and a half. The first full year, I've already made $500 in that year, and you can see that I started with 5,000 and I ended with 11,000. So to make $500 and I'm only starting from $5,000 and trickling up, it's not like I had $11,000 in there like I do now the entire time. I started with 5,000, ended with 11,000, and made $500 in that time. So that means you can already see that in 2021, that number is going to be substantially higher than 500. I would be stoked if I could make $1,000. That'd be a big milestone to make $1,000 in 1 year off of one investment. And the daily, because they pay out daily. Now, because I have the long-term plan, it's very low on debt, and the majority of it is equity. If you have the plan that's made more for income, you'll get I'm assuming a higher daily payout. But it was just under 50 cents a day. Now it's in the mid 50s, 55, 56, 57 cents a day. And my goal for that is to eventually get $1 a day. I would eventually like to be making $1 a day. That's just one of those small goals along the way. And then to round it out, $3,000, it's not exact, it's around 3,000, but give or take. And that's just between the money that I have in my checking account, my savings accounts, which really I don't keep much in there because it doesn't pay anything in interest, and physical cash that I have on hand. It's just between those accounts, just another couple $1,000. But that brings us up to just a hair under $61,000, which is 50,000 was big. I should have made a video after that, but 50,000 was a big milestone for me because it's halfway to 100,000. That six-figure portfolio is, I think, one of the biggest milestones for anybody who's starting from scratch. The 10,000 one is pretty, every time the comma moves a position, it's a big deal. And 50,000 is, especially in the amount of time, you're talking a year and a half, 50,000 a year and a half. I'm happy with it. It could have been a lot more if 2020 was a little rough, as I'm sure it was to a lot of people. I could definitely have been higher, but there were some things that came up, just like in everybody else's 2020. Some were foreseen, some were unforeseen, but I'm happy with it. You take what you get, and you do what you can. You don't really beat yourself up too much about it. You just try to be a little bit better next year than you were the year before. So my main goal for 2021 is to hit 100,000, and I know it's possible. It's not incredibly difficult, but it's going to take discipline. It's up to me. It's mine to lose. So if I play my cards right and I stick to this, then sometime this year I should hit 100,000. So that's just a quick update. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I will see you guys soon. Hopefully I'll make more videos, as long as YouTube doesn't keep purging its own creator base.